In this worksheet called Scenario, we have budget projections for the year 2014. As we look at February and March, each of these formulas as we move right is based on what happens in January. If this is our initial estimate as to what will happen in 2014, we'd also like to keep a different set of numbers which might be less optimistic. We may have lower sales. We may keep another list like this which shows the impact of higher cost of goods and products. One approach is to have multiple worksheets which all look the same, starting with different numbers. They'll all have something in common, and that's the ripple effect. When the January numbers change, they make all the numbers in the other worksheets also change. This worksheet goes all the way for the whole year, and as we move down, there's a total in the lower right hand corner, which is the gross profit in cell R35. This you'll also see at the top of the screen, with the simple formula to remind us of the total R35. Let's imagine that we want to retain what we have here and also store the less optimistic projection. We can store 4 or 5 scenarios in the same worksheet, and using a new button which will install in the Quick Access toolbar, display any of them rapidly. Let's start by saying we want to define the first scenario as an original. Click within the data and then go to the Data tab and choose What If Analysis, and then choose Scenario Manager, and we will add a scenario called Original. We won't actually be changing any cells, but for the other scenarios we'll be changing some cells, say cell E5 or E6, E10. So select any of them and click OK. All we've done is save our original layout, which we called Original. Now add a new scenario, which we call Low Cells. It's prompting us with the same cells to be changed, and this time we will change them. We'll change 137,000 to 130,000. Our shipping income from 26,700 to 25,000. We won't change the cost of goods, as we'll just call this low sales and click OK. We've now defined a low sales scenario. As I click Show, keep an eye on the 450,000. It's 332,000 under our low sales projection. Before adding another, we'll return to the normal scenario, show that and add another scenario and call it high sales. Later we may have another called high cost of goods or high sales. Click OK. Instead of the original 137,000, what about 145,000? Changing the January entry will have a ripple effect across the worksheet for the year, and the shipping income cost, instead of 26,700, make it 28,000. We won't change the cost of goods. Click OK. We've now defined high sales. We'll show it. Instead of 450,000, it's 575,000. We'll close this now. How to return to the previous scenarios. To make it really fast, right-click anywhere in the Quick Access toolbar, right-click and Customize, then choose Commands from Commands Not in the ribbon. Slide down the letter S, and you'll find Scenario. There's an arrow to the right of it suggesting a drop list. Click Add. There'll now be a button in the Quick Access toolbar and click OK. So when you work with this worksheet, you'll click the drop arrow associated with the Scenario button, and maybe you want to look at the normal view or the low sales scenario. This button will only be relevant when you're working with this sheet that has scenarios in it, but this provides an easy way to display various scenarios without having to use different worksheets.